Hello and welcome to Soul Basics Soul Chat. Today we are talking with Charlene Fleck. Charlene is an avid hiker, kayaker, camper, and traveler. But more than her back to basics organic lifestyle, Charlene is one of the kindest persons I know, always ready and willing to help others. Charlene is actually one of my closest friends, and truth be told, I have always been inspired by her. It has always impressed me the fact that she won't let anything stop her from doing the things that she wants to do. Welcome, Charlene. Can you tell us what it's like to be a single woman and to do all of these things on your own?
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to chatting about it and I don't know, just hopefully inspiring others with going through some stuff with it. So there's good and bad with being single. There's good and bad with someone being in a relationship. So, it's easier for me sometimes to focus on the positive things with being single and what comes with that than, the negative, because, it's a choice I've made, for many years to want to stay single and I guess do what I want to do. So I'm going to say for the most part, for me, it's a positive thing.
That's great.
So yeah, I don't know, it's easy to maybe not feel a sense of fulfillment sometimes, maybe for some people that, don't understand what it's like to want to stay single, I guess sometimes. So people see things differently maybe too sometimes when you're single. So
Yeah. So what are some of the things that have been difficult for you to do as a single person?
Just doing some stuff on my own, right? Like if things come up that you want to go do, or I want to go do, and there's no one available to go with me to do it, that's tough sometimes, right? So a few years ago, Garth Brooks came to Edmonton, right? He was in concert, had like a whole bunch of concerts, and I really wanted to go, and there was nobody that I could find that could go with me at the time. And so it was one thing I had never done on my own. And I decided to go, and it was really tough for me. And I've done lots of things on my own over the years, and that was a tough one. It was, I think, because it's a social thing for a lot of people. So
Yeah.
Sometimes social means going with a group of people or going with somebody. So it was tough, but I went, and it was great. I mean, I loved it, and I feel better for that I went, because I think I would have been more upset at myself if I would have given into my insecurities of going by myself and not go, right? So and it was a great concert, so I'm so glad I went. But
it's funny you say that, just to go to a concert by yourself. Like I remember when I was working for a company a few years ago, and I would travel a lot. And then I would have to when I would travel, then I'm staying in a hotel by myself. And then I would have to go out for dinner by myself. And I just remember feeling how uneasy that was to sit in a restaurant. And I don't know, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, people are looking at me, and yet they don't care. But for some reason I care. I'm thinking that they're, so it got easier when I would just take a book with me, and I would just sit and read, or I would take my laptop and kind of work through dinner. But for me it felt awkward. How does that feel for you when you go out?
A lot of that doesn't. So I started traveling for the job I had quite a few years ago, and I had traveled for a lot of years for work. And so I think I started doing a lot of things on my own for work. And so it didn't seem weird to me, because it was like, I'm in this city by myself because I'm here for work. So me going out to eat didn't seem weird. And then it just stayed that way, right? I'm not that uncomfortable doing a lot of things on my own. Stuff like that doesn't, and I'm like that. I'll take a book, or I'll have my laptop and that. And so, I mean, there's the odd time, but if you really looked around, nobody cares, right? You're bringing it on yourself. You're making your own self-conscious, you're making yourself subconscious, not oh, you look around, the whole restaurant's oh, she's sitting by herself, right? It's just, And if you
Yeah, and they
actually,
don't care, but we're telling ourselves
no,
this story that other people
oh, it
do.
looks bad that I'm sitting here by myself, right? But if you look around, you're usually not the only person that's sitting by themselves, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. And then
yeah.
do you just like, so sometimes what I would do is I would like strike up a conversation with somebody or chat longer with the waitress
Um,
or
I'm not very good. No, I'm not big at talking to other people. I kind of like it. There is the odd time. If someone strikes up a conversation with me, I'm great. That's fine. I will the odd time, but yeah, I'm okay not talking to people either, which I know is probably, but
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
What about like moving? I know that you've had a few big moves. What was that like?
Yeah.
Where did you
Scary.
go? Tell us where you
Uh,
went.
s- so my first big move was Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories. So I had the opportunity to transfer up there for my work. And so I decided to go for it. You know, it's scary. I mean, life is scary. So I guess you need to decide. I need to, like, the way I talk to myself is I need to decide if it's going to be scary good or scary bad. Because
Oh,
it's easy to be like something scary, and same with like change, right? So change doesn't have to be bad, but you need to convince yourself that it's going to be good, right? So when I was thinking it through, it was like, um, good or bad, a year goes by really fast. So that was my thought process. So, you know, whether I love it or hate it, I can do a year by myself up there. Even if I didn't meet one person, you know, I can, you know, I can do this. So that was kind of, I pep talk myself a lot when I'm doing certain things, right? Talk to myself and talk myself up, because at the end of the day, no matter what decisions you're making or what you're like, it's easy to talk yourself out of something, no matter what you're doing, because it's
yeah,
easier to not do something than to take that leap of faith of doing something and not knowing what's on the other side of that
yeah.
leap. So yeah, so I moved up there and met some really great people. I lived up there for 3 years and loved it.
That's
Um,
funny because you said to yourself, I'll try 1 year.
yes,
And then you probably were
yeah.
just adding on like each year as it went.
I never even thought of it. Honestly, once I moved up there, the whole like, you know, 1 year, you know, good or bad goes by so fast. I
I
honestly,
love
when I
that.
was ready to move out or when I was moving away, it was hard for me because I really found my place up there. I loved it. And so it was like 3 years went by in a blink of an eye for me up there.
So tell us some of the experiences that you had when you were up there.
Uh, so I have moved a little bit. And so, you know, even when I've been traveling for work, I try to, when I go to cities or if I'm staying somewhere for a bit and if I have some downtime, I pretend I'm a tourist or a visitor in that town. So that's what I did when I moved up to Yellowknife. So went to the visitor center and was like, and I gave people a reason to come visit me. So I had some great, like I had lots of families and friends that come up to visit. And so I went to the visitor center to see, you know, what Yellowknife offered for visitors and company that was coming up. And so like did lots. The Northern Lights are probably the one thing that amazed me. I mean, I grew up in Alberta in Canada. You see the Northern Lights and you're like, they're beautiful.
Hmm.
But when you're in Yellowknife, they're like above, they're right above you. You're just at the top of the world, and I can't even describe how beautiful they are. So going out and seeing the Northern Lights was probably the ongoing thing I did. Now you can't, it's there's only about 4 hours of daylight in the winter up there,
Wow.
and then there's only about 4 hours of darkness in the summer. And so that's hard, right? Like having no daylight or no darkness. And so the Northern Lights, you really only see them in the winter because
Yeah.
and so it's really cold when you're going out to see them. So
Oh my
it's
goodness.
that's
Yes, it would be
like,
super cold up there.
oh yeah, like minus 35, minus 40, minus 45 Celsius. Yeah, it was pretty cold. And that's the time you've seen them though, and the time they came out.
Right.
So Northern Lights were a big one. We went dog sledding because that's
Oh,
a thing up
cool.
there.
Yeah.
There's lots of lakes and that. And so I didn't have my kayak when I went up there, because I was in an apartment, but tons of lakes to kayak, a little bit of hiking. in the winter they do, there's the ice roads. So you're right, they make roads on the lakes and that. And so they build this huge castle up there in March. And then they have like a celebration the whole month of March. And you're in like this castle, castle made out of snow out on the middle of the lake that you just like drive out to. And it's just, yeah, there's lots to do up there. It's, you have to be an outdoorsy person though, I think, to really enjoy Yellowknife. Because
what I love is the fact that you took the risk, you took the challenge of being a single woman to go and take on that experience on your own. Because, and what an experience you had you not, had just, said, this is scary good, and went and did that. You wouldn't have had those wonderful, amazing memories. And that's amazing. Like, that's awesome. And so then you came back to Edmonton area.
Yeah.
And what was that like then?
It was a hard transition for me in the sense that I've never really lived in a big city. Number one, I grew up on a farm. And so, I think bigger than like 10,000 people is a big city for me. Yellowknife was like 20,000. So, but yeah, it was a little bit more scarier because it's bigger. Honestly, it's hard to, as you get older, it's hard to make friends. I mean, how do you make friends? Right? I mean, unless you go to church, you're part of a group. It's hard to meet people. And I worked a lot. And my work took me away a lot. And so it was, I've been in Edmonton for quite a few years now, and it's not, I wouldn't say I really feel like it's my home, like it's, or maybe I'm just ready to move out of Edmonton and the city. But I did the same thing when I came, when I was driving to places for work within the city, I would just go drive. Like I would turn down in one way just to get to know the city. Like if I'm gonna go downtown, I'd take some different routes and just kind of learn the city. And, again, you got to do that stuff, or it's easy again to say I'm not going to do that because I'm alone there. It's that same thing. Like you either convince yourself to do it or you convince yourself not to do it.
So what types of things do you do to keep yourself convinced, like happy with the fact that you don't have a significant other? Like I know you've got Lucy, you've got the cutest little dog.
I got a dog, yeah.
You've got a little dog
sleeping beside me right now.
But
so
what types of things do you do to keep encouraged? Because usually another person in your home is what keeps you encouraged. Like if somebody's down, the other person picks you up. What do you do?
I don't think about it a lot. A lot of times I just do stuff. If it's, again, I guess a part of the way I think is if I want to do something, I gotta go do it. Right? Because just because I'm single doesn't mean I need to miss out on doing stuff. And so I guess a lot of self-talk, pat myself up, and I just talked, that inner voice is being like, come on, do you really want to do this? Because if you do, go do it. Right. Yeah. So, and I have some great friends and family, yourself included, that, it's, you talk to people sometimes and it's like, they seem amazed, but encouraged too. So, I mean, that helps too. When someone's like, oh, wow, I can't believe you're doing that. Like, I could never do it. And it's like, no, you could. If you wanted to go try something,
like really, Charlene, what's the worst that could happen?
Right. Well, depending on the situation, but no.
But I do know that you do journaling, and you have a happiness jar. Tell us about that happiness jar.
So some of it's from my journaling. So, it's writing things. My journaling really is being grateful. So I'll call it my grateful journal. It's just my journal, but usually I write things I'm grateful for, right? Mm-hmm. Even if it's only a couple things a day, it makes me reflect back on the day in a positive way. Because I mean, it's easy, again, single or not, it's easy to get bogged down with things that's going on, in the world and in your life that are not great or negative, right? Sad, right. Things are happening. So it's intentionally looking at the day to see what good things happen, what you're grateful for. And so what I have been doing in the past few years is at the end of the year, I take that journal and I put it into strips and put it in a jar so that you know, I can like pull that out and be like, oh, like this date, you know, it brings back great memories for me then sometimes. Not that I look at it all the time, but even just seeing those jars with knowing what's in them
Yeah.
is enough sometimes for me to be like, oh, right, you know, I have lots to be grateful for, thankful for, and it's nice to write it down sometimes.
I love that. I love that. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And so, um, so that's some of the moving and that kind of stuff that you've done. But what about like hiking, kayaking, camping? Like, tell us about that.
So my brother really got me into doing a lot of that. So, oh man, it's been a lot of years now, but my brother and his family have always been big campers, but he also was been a hiker right from, you know, a young age. And so he had talked me into going kayaking, I don't know, one weekend, and we had rented a kayak for me and I was hooked. And then it was kind of like everything else. I mean, I've always enjoyed being outside, but then the more things I tried, it was like, oh, I really like this. And then, so then I get to a point, it's like, okay, so I've gone, you know, kayaking, or I've gone hiking. I don't hike by myself, but I've gone kayaking and camping and that with, you know, family or whoever. And it's like, okay, well, now nobody can go with me and I want to go. So now what do I do? Right. So it's like, well, convince myself to do it. So I went and bought a little trailer. Oh man, like 5 years ago now at least. And
Yeah.
so I yeah, it's again just doing it. I have to say that's probably one of the scariest things for me to go do on my own, is just camp and be on my own, because I don't know why, because I feel like maybe more can go, maybe I feel better if a bear is chasing me, if someone's around me or with me instead of it just me. But
Because you only have to outrun that person, right?
and I usually only have my dog with me, and I know she can outrun me if a bear is
Oh,
chasing
no.
us, so that won't be good. No, so that's pretty scary, but it's I go back to, okay, well, if I want to do it, I need to go do it, right?
Yeah.
So either I talk myself into it instead of talk myself out of it, because the alternate is me sitting at home doing what? Nothing, right? And not enjoying anything that I really want to do. So
Yeah, and you lose out on those experiences. Like, so you,
exactly.
I think I recall, like you did, it was like a helicopter hike or something.
So there's kind of a group of us, so mostly different family members, my brother, a cousin and her husband, and another cousin, kind of the core five of us. My sisters joined us though too a bit, but there's kind of that core of us that pick a hike every year and go do it. And so yes, one of our hikes, we did Mount Assiniboine one year, where we took a helicopter, took us like 8 minutes to get up to the top of the mountain, and then we tented around there for a couple of days, and then we hiked out. Took us
8 minutes to get up, 48 hours to get down.
pretty much. We yeah, so I think we've done 10 or 11 years that we've done some kind of either hiking trip or like a kayaking hiking trip. Yeah, so we've done that for quite a few years. So that one's just only one. Like I'm gonna say my hardest hike I've ever done, mentally and physically, was West Coast Trail on the Vancouver Island. Really hard. It's like 75 kilometers, and it took us 7 days. And
Wow.
so it was lots
Oh
of
my gosh.
ladders, like it was hard. It
And
was
did you
like
have your kayaks with you? Like, did you have to do a lot of,
no, not
okay.
no, that one we didn't. It was just tough terrain, and yeah.
Wow. But even on the other hikes that you do that you take your kayaks on, there's a lot of portaging that you have to do and like carrying your,
Sometimes, yeah,
yeah,
right.
that's tough.
We pick though, you know, we pick our trips pretty specific for what we know we can handle, and you
Okay.
know, based on what other people have told us. So yeah, we've done kind of different trips doing different things. We've done last year we did a portaging kayaking trip, and that was really hard. I think
That
you
is
know,
really hard.
our boats were really heavy. I felt like our kayaks were really heavy, but I think it was just I need to get some more muscle than
I'm a
anything. But yeah.
kayaker and there's no way that I could do portaging. I have a hard enough time just getting it from the truck to the water. So.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, but part of that is being able to do some of that. So one of the things again, my brother kept my kayak out at his place for a long time because I'm not strong enough or tall enough to put my kayak on my Jeep by myself, on my vehicle.
Right.
And so I was always reliant on someone else helping me to be able to go do some of that. And so a few years ago, you know, so sometimes for me too, it's money over activity. And so a few years ago, I got kayak racks put on my Jeep that actually have a little hydraulic in it that come down on the side of my Jeep, so
Oh,
that I can lift my kayak. Like I don't have to lift it very high because my kayak's heavy. It's like 50 pounds. So I can put it in the racks on the side of my Jeep, and then it snaps up and snaps over the top of it, and I can do it by myself. So it was expensive, but I
but
can
now you
also
can
now
do it
go
on your own.
kayaking again. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's stuff maybe when you're not single, people don't think of some of that, but yeah, it's just stuff to work through. Because again, I own a kayak, or you know, I own a kayak, but I can't go do stuff, you know, with anybody because I can't load it by myself. So what do I do to be able to load it by myself, or right? So
You figure it out and you do it.
figured out, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I love that. And
yeah.
so I know that you're in a situation in life right now that you've been able to take some time away to go and do some traveling. And so
Yes.
what's happening right now for you?
So yes, so I have an opportunity right now to go do whatever I want to do, I guess I'll say. And so I've chose to go traveling. And so I have my house up for sale right now. I had bought my house when I came to Edmonton. Oh man, probably like 7 years ago. And I'm like the proudest of it because this was my house, right? I bought it on my own, like I picked it.
Yeah.
You know, it's mine. So I'm proud of that, but I'm also ready to take a new chapter of my life. And so I want to downsize. So house is too big for my dog and I. So anyways, I'm selling the house, and then I'm going to travel for, right now I'm looking about 6 weeks, looking at going to Europe and
So
tutoring around there,
where are
traveling
you
around.
going?
So
Tell us where you're
um
going.
I don't know for sure, but I'm thinking of starting somewhere in Ireland and working my way east.
Ooh,
So,
nice.
you know, Great Britain, like, you know, Ireland, and then Scotland, England, and then jumping the water and going to Belgium, and then maybe a little bit further. But I'm kind of waiting for my house to sell until I finalize
Yeah.
my plans.
A little
But
bit of country hopping. A
a little bit, yes.
little
It's
bit.
kind of
And then,
scary, yeah, but
yeah,
it's
because you're doing it by yourself. You're like nobody's
I
going with
am.
you.
But again, I guess it's I I have the time to be able to do something. So again, I can sell my house and go do what? Sit and do nothing, or find something to do. I mean, I realize this is kind of extreme because I'm traveling pretty far away, but it is scary. But it's like, you know, I also look into stuff before. I'm not a person that just jumps into something without like a lot of research and checking. So I mean, trust me, I've probably read every like single female, like any, you know, solo female traveling, you know, tips and whatever. So I mean, I do my research too. It's not like I just randomly pack up everything, you know, hop on a plane and go do something, right?
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, it's
so
not the
definitely do
70s.
my you know, I could even probably do it if I lived in the 70s, but it's not my personality. But it's scary enough for me what I'm doing right now because it's outside my comfort zone, like me selling my house, and you know, I'm selling my house and then traveling and then deciding what I'm doing after that. And so it's kind of
Yeah.
scary for me, right? But again, I'm excited about it, so I focus on the good excitement, not the bad
It's the
excitement.
good
So
scary.
the good scary,
It's
not the
the
bad
good
scary.
scary. And
Yeah.
I'm excited for you because I know that you plan on doing like, you know, you're going to take lots of photographs and you plan on doing some blogging and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm really
Yes.
excited for you. Um, yeah. And then, so what are you going to do when you get back?
So
Your house
I'm
is
not gonna,
sold.
yeah,
What are you
I'm
going
not
to
gonna have
do?
a house. So I'm going to live in my trailer for a little while and experience that. And I'm pretty excited about that. I follow a few actually different ladies, mostly through the US, that live in their trailers full time. Some live like in a small trailer like what I have with like big dogs. And they obviously live in a place that they can live in their trailer year round, which isn't here
Yeah.
where we are. But yeah, I'm going to spend a few months and see what that's like and travel around, check out some different places and make a decision on maybe where I want to settle, because I'm not tied to Edmonton anymore and I'm looking forward to getting out of Edmonton. I just want something smaller. So yeah, I'm going to spend a few months doing that, go camping and have
That's
my
so
kayak with
exciting.
me. And yeah, I'm excited. We're just working on a hike for this year. So I'll incorporate that in my travels, but
Oh.
yeah, so that's kind of what's going to happen when I get back. So
Well, it
that's
looks like you have it
lots
all
going on.
planned out. And I
Getting
wouldn't
there.
expect anything less of you because, I mean, you want to do something, you're going to do it. And you're going to find a way to do it. And that's what's always impressed me about you. So
Thanks.
what makes your soul soar?
I helping others. I know you said that at the beginning, but empowering others. So nothing makes me feel better than knowing that I've encouraged others to do something, whether it's because they're single or anything else, but just
Yeah.
helping others. But then just being outdoors, being in nature, the mountains, it's definitely my place. Makes me, yeah, it's just, you look up, you see the mountains, you see the trees, and it's like just being in nature is definitely sings to me.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you so much, Charlene, for joining us today. I hope that we can have you on again. I know that, I mean, it won't be until late spring that you're going to be gone for several months. Maybe we can hook you in if you have reception at some place and you can kind of show us
Sure.
where you are.
Yes.
That would be lots of fun. Maybe you could post some photos or some videos or whatever into the group while you're gone. And then even when you get back, wherever you settle, we definitely will do this again.
It was
So, and
great.
I
Thanks for
will
having
visit
me.
lots.
That's great. You'll have to. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.